Welcome back to the Homestand Show. The Canadian men's soccer team had a big win over the weekend, beating Curacao to qualify for the 2023 Gold Cup. On Tuesday, they're back home for the first time since the World Cup to take on Honduras, and our own James Sharman is live at BMO Field. James?
Thanks, Albert. And yes, on Tuesday, Canada back at it against Honduras, coming off that workmanlike performance in a win against Curacao on the weekend. However, a win's a win. A draw against Honduras, and this team's into the Nations League final round of action, which means potentially a place in the next round of qualifying for Copa America. It's very confusing, let's be honest here. But given what you saw against Curacao, Mikey, do you expect to see a complete performance against Honduras back on home soil?
Yeah, I'm expecting a better game overall from Canada's perspective. Obviously, the stakes are higher in this match, and I really feel like when you look at this window, this was really the game that the team was zeroing in on. And you add in the fact that it's going to be back at home at BMO Field, the first game on home soil since the World Cup, and you have to expect a much better all-around performance from Canada.
Sarah, back at home soil, BMO Field can be great. Great atmosphere, lots of people. The top level is closed down for this match.
Yeah.
Very expensive tickets. What's your level of concern about the atmosphere on Tuesday night?
Yeah, I'm very concerned. You know, it's still winter here in Toronto. The weather's not going to be great. I know that's going to affect some people, but there's not been a lot of advertisement for this game. We know that. They're closing up the whole upper level, so there's no chance of even selling out the entire thing. And yeah, it does make me worried that we're, going to see a very empty-looking BMO Field for Canada's first game back since that game against Jamaica, which got them to qualify for the World Cup.
And it should be a celebration, right? This is a team that made the World Cup, did okay at spurts. But I don't know, that there's part of me that seems a little bit anticlimactic given what you might see tomorrow. Now listen, we could be corrected. It could be a great atmosphere, who knows? But from what we're hearing so far, that might be less than likely. Although there'll be many a Honduran out in fine voice.
That's the thing. You do definitely always expect, especially when it's like a Central American team, that their crowd is going to show up. You mentioned it might be an empty-looking BMO Field, but it actually will be full-looking just based on the way that I think Canada Soccer is organizing BMO Field. Yeah, you know what? It is a testament kind of where we are as a nation when it comes to soccer, right? This is the first game back after World Cup. You expect it to be sold out really quickly, but the reality is it's a game against Honduras that a lot of people might not understand what Nations League is and what exactly it means, the significance behind that. There's no trophy on the line tomorrow. So, yeah, I understand why maybe there isn't as much excitement just based on the fact that this might not be a big game like a World Cup qualifier, but still, it does tell you where things are.
Where are we at as a nation, Sarah? That's an easy question for you, isn't it?
Yeah, we are not there. That's it. We're just not there yet. And I think we have a long way to go. And this is exactly like a proof of that. First game back after going to a World Cup. Let me just go over what happened on the weekend. Morocco played Brazil. Now, I know it's Brazil. Morocco's also a massive team. They played in Morocco. Stadium was banging. We know those Moroccan fans. And it was a friendly. Not even worth anything. Not nation, nothing. Literally a friendly. No Neymar, no problem. They filled this place up, and I think it just shows you we are not a soccer nation, and I don't have any trouble saying that because it's the truth. We can be, but there's so much work that needs to be done here.
It's a work in progress, and on the pitch, obviously, that work is happening. The team's looking decent. Up front, in particular, we saw Carl Larin score again. We saw John David score again. We got players who are in form at the moment, and quite frankly, on home soil, despite these conditions being less than perfect, it should be 3 points, should it not, against Honduras?
Honduras is a tough side, and we actually saw that, if you remember, all the way back at the beginning of World Cup qualifying when Canada kicked it off. It was here at BMO Field. It was against Honduras, and they ended up drawing that game. And you could probably make the argument that Honduras might have deserved 3 points in that game. So it's not going to be easy. That being said, if we want to be perceived as a new Canada, if we want to take this next step forward, this has to be a game. Absolutely. You get 3 points with everything that's at stake.
Remember our chat last week on Homestand?
No, I don't.
You don't, do you? And the concern about Curacao?
Oh, yeah.
It's Curacao?
It's Curacao.
Listen, this Honduras is not the same Honduras as we've seen in the last decade, right? It's a team very much rebuilding as well. It has to be 3 points. Although a draw is enough, simply put, for this one. But still, I think it's a big game for Canada. Yeah. If you go back to the end of qualifying, they lost their last match of qualifying. The World Cup happened, okay. A couple of friendlies were okay, not great performances. This team's due a really good performance and a big result. And I think it needs to come on Tuesday night.
Yeah, no, and also I think they have a record of 11 matches or so unbeaten at home. So keep the mentality going, and hopefully with the home pitch, the home fans, Canada can get the job done. Go for the win, don't go for the draw.
Well, we'll be here on Tuesday. Albert, back to you.
Thanks, James, and the Room 442 crew. You're going to be at that game.
I am.
In between segments, you bought some tickets.
I did, yeah.
So it's not going to be sold out.
No, I actually.
Supposed to be below zero, by the way. Just throwing
It's
that out
fine.
there.
I wore some gloves in it too.
You're a
but
true fan.
I am. And I want to ask you this.
Yeah,
Of all the hype from the World Cup, and it looked like Canada soccer was finally on the map. Okay, this is it. We made our mark at the World Cup. We didn't, of course, extend to the group stages
Right.
and stuff like that. The knockout round, excuse
Right,
me. But we
yeah.
scored a goal. Big moment, one of the best moments ever. We saw that. But again, Canada soccer, 1 step forward, 3 steps behind.
What's the 3 steps behind?
The whole thing about not even selling out BMO Field. How can BMO
Oh,
Field
I
not
know.
be sold
That's
out?
an issue.
right?
No, it definitely is an issue.
How can I be buying tickets like the day, but less than
Yeah.
24 hours,
Yeah.
24 hours before the game, right?
This was an issue even before the World Cup, leading up to the World Cup when they had that excellent qualification stage.
Does it have anything to do though with the whole thing that's been, the whole
No.
Canada
No,
soccer
no,
players
I
and
don't
all
think
that?
so.
No.
No, I mean, it's just the last time I watched them play in Toronto was against it was Jamaica when they qualified, but prior to that was Costa Rica, where Alphonso Davies scored that incredible goal.
Yeah.
Remember, it was at the touchline, he brought it back
Yeah,
in,
it spun around.
and that was sold out. But I think it's the timing. It's Honduras,
But
cold
it's their
weather.
first game
I know,
back in
I know.
Canada since the World Cup.
I know it should be a
And
huge
all the
welcoming
guys are
party.
here.
No, I totally agree with you.
Right?
I don't know what the reason is for that.
I would expect it more. I would expect it to be more fans there, more tickets sold, more hype, right?
Yeah.
Like these guys, like this was just a short couple months ago. This was the thing we were talking about all over the country, and now it seems it's gone flat.
It's not really being talked about.
No.
Producer Sean wants to jump in with his 2 cents. Not the biggest soccer fan, but he appreciates the sport. I know that for sure.
So like I completely agree with Sarah Perari. Like I do think that
Yeah, she's saying that
Yeah.
Canada is not a soccer
yeah,
nation.
and again, I think that it can be, and I totally on the same page with her. I just think that especially Toronto is a fickle market. Like
Yeah.
you can't get the Argonauts to sell anything. You know what I mean? The Blue Jays only on the weekends. Obviously, the Raptors and Leafs are constant sellouts. But for me, it's you're coming in and it's again, you're right. Honduras, it's not a name that
No.
that people are going to bring in, and also it's the time of the year, and like they said too, no promotion. I didn't hear about this game till today.
Yeah.
And again, I'm pretty immersed in sports culture and what's going on, but yeah, I just think that it's inexcusable.
Yeah, Canada still has a long way to go to becoming a true soccer nation.
Yeah, I think the
And
comparison.
it's hard when it's not the country's national sport.
Yeah, I don't know. I just would have thought that the momentum from the World Cup would have continued on, but it looks like it just
It kind of
People-
just died
people
out.
watch for that like 2 weeks and they're like, okay, we'll see you in 2026.
Yeah.
But if we really want to grow soccer in this nation, right? People have to want to be invested, and Canada soccer has to want to get, more importantly, want to get people invested because you
Right.
have such big pieces here. Jonathan David's talking about going to England, Spain, wherever. Alphonso Davies is with Bayern Munich, right? Tejan Buchanan. All these guys are making marks in Europe now, which is what we wanted as Canadian soccer fans. And yet the Soccer Federation can't market this team and this squad for people to even come to a game at BMO Field. I literally bought tickets 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that easy.
It should not be that easy.
Yeah, I mean the problem too. There's been so much negativity around them post World Cup. That probably hurts as well. But you guys are absolutely right. Sarah's right in terms of promotion. It's been next to nothing. I mean the Curacao game. I mean unless you're on top of what's going on, you wouldn't even know that it's happening. And Mikey kind of mentioned maybe people don't understand how this CONCACAF Nations League thing is, but it should be a welcoming party. And
Exactly.
it's not going to be, but it should be.
Like you saw when the women won the gold medal, right? They had the celebration tour
Yeah.
around the country.
Yeah.
Like people went to go watch that because they did something monumental. Now the men, for whatever reason, Soccer Canada, they can't market this in any way correctly, and people do not want to go, regardless if it's Nations League or not.
The fan base is definitely there because when they played Jamaica, I know that they were clinching a spot in the World Cup. It was sold out. When they played the USA in
Yeah.
Hamilton, sold out. That Costa Rica game, packed house. So the fan base is there. It's just a fact of getting them to care about these types
And I'm
of
saying
games.
that's on the Canadian Soccer Association
course,
to
yeah.
do that,
Yeah,
to bring
absolutely.
people to the stands, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, no, it's not good. But I mean, some meaningful games coming up for Canada from now until the 2026 World Cup. So they've qualified with that win over Curacao for the 2023 Gold Cup, which is really important. Then there's a 2025 Gold Cup that's happening, potentially getting into the 2024 Copa America.
That is the biggest thing.
That's a lot of important, meaningful games from now into the World
That's
Cup.
what this team needs, especially a team like John Herman's mentioned. They're going to be younger in 2026.
And also, they don't have to qualify for the World Cup, so
Exactly.
you need to have meaningful games somewhere.
Exactly. And I think being on that Copa America stage would be so big for this country as well. Like,
Oh, man.
but right behind the World Cup and the Euros, the Copa America is the biggest international tournament in the world, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
And I think that right there would be so massive to be another global stage for soccer in our country to be put on the map like that. And they really need to, you got young and upcoming players, and you want to see them play meaningful games, like you said.
Yeah, Canada fans, go out and support Canada.
Go out and
we need
support.
more. Join Justin. Are you a jersey guy? Are you a kit guy?
Well, I would if it was the summertime. I'll be wearing my Davies jersey, but I'll have the jacket zipped up.
No, you got to throw it over the hoodie, though. I know below zero, you probably need a parka.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you need a.
That sucks.
And I got
dude.
the Canada too, so we were in the.
I
two,
know.
so.